Hey guys. AJ and I are going to present about the project we're working on, Indigenous forest health and environmental biosecurity. But before we get started, I would like to pay my respects to the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. They're the custodians of this beautiful country we're on today, and have been since time began. So deepest respects to them and their elders, and I also want to extend that respect to all Indigenous people here today in this room with us and all elders here today with us. Who are we? I'm Tilly Davis. I'm from Bachelor Country in Queensland. I've worked with Jeff for a couple of years now, and worked with AJ now, and now I'm the Assistant Project Officer in this project under the SOS program within the Department of Planning and Environment. I'm still getting used to that one. And I'm going to pass over to AJ to introduce himself.
Thanks. Hi everyone, my name's AJ Perkins. I'm currently working the same area, SOS, the Department of Environment, Threatened Species Coordinator, Aboriginal Community Engagement Project Officer, and also working as a Partnerships Coordinator under the New South Wales Koala Strategy and the Partnerships teams as well. I'm going to start by just giving a bit of background and talk about the importance of the program we're delivering. Did you know that 50% of the National Reserve System is managed by Indigenous groups under the federally funded Indigenous Protected Areas program, as well as other lands returned through other legislation, but it doesn't include lands under... Sorry, how do you scroll this? So I might just start that. So yeah, 50% of the National Reserve System's managed through federally funded programs. Country is the centre of culture for First Nations people, which is ingrained through connection, story and language and law. So it's important to build relationships with First Nation people on the ground. When it comes to exotic pests and diseases, things like murder rust, it has the potential to significantly impact culture and country, and we're aiming to have a greater understanding of this. With this understanding of practice, so our program is aiming to build capacity and awareness of threats on country. Country First Nation ranger teams are managing, murder rust being one of the main focuses, but also others like understanding the work the Bunya Mountain ranger teams are doing around Phytophthora dieback, and providing opportunity for them to share that knowledge and better inform our training program as well as other ranger teams in the space. And we're building our training workshops to allow for feedback and sharing of knowledge from groups, understanding the cultural importance of specific species, identifying potential threatened species that may be within the lands that they manage, helping develop toolkits for groups to understand and undertake monitoring and management to better equip them, helping develop awareness material, understanding the current shape and model of their teams and what environment programs and projects they're currently delivering, and look at how to integrate and better support biosecurity threats. The current makeup of funding supporting these teams is limited, and with the works needed to care for their lands, it makes it very difficult to insert programs like pests and pathogens and biosecurity. So we're hoping to get a better understanding in this program to have an Indigenous network with a focus on biosecurity to better inform needs and support to deliver on-ground actions and continue to build capacity within teams in New South Wales and Queensland. Understanding what existing tools and information groups have and co-design suited material. On the bottom right is the current Minimy IPA Fire Map, and it's an example of something we're wanting to mimic for the purpose of pests and diseases, giving information that's tailored for each group and area, and collaboratively working with creating and working on films with First Nations people to not only start to create awareness of the impacts that are happening to the environment and to culture, but to also highlight myrtle rust broadly as well. So pretty sure you've probably all seen the film, but if you haven't, it's a pretty good one. I'm a bit biased because we're in it, but it is important to start these conversations with First Nations people. Culture for First Nations people provides guidance and management of this country through law, language, story, totemic systems and kinship. This land has been managed by First Nations people for over 60,000 years, and it has only taken since colonisation that small slice for it to be where it is today. It's great, all the science and research going on, but where, if any, is there input from First Nations people in this country, the traditional custodians? We need to move from this disproportionate setup and create an inclusive, holistic approach. Only recently have they started to grasp the understanding and the importance of the role that traditional ecological knowledge plays in protecting and maintaining a healthy country. But we have a fair way to go. I'm going to hand over to Tilly now to talk about the impacts of myrtle rust and what we're aiming to highlight.
So here is a site that Jeff and Louise have taken us to in Tallebudgera on the Gold Coast. Pretty tragic, as you can see from the photos. You know, that there is an elder lily pilly, and yeah, not doing too well. So that's really heartbreaking to see an elder tree like that suffering from rust. And then you see basically the entire understory here of Myrtaceae dominant understory, and it's dead. We're stepping over dead trees just laid out like matchsticks. And obviously there's a lot of impacts for that. You know, you'd go there in the spring and you should be smelling nectar, you should be hearing birds. And yeah, it's eerily quiet. Not only that, but you know, that there is a massive wildfire risk. You know, you've got a whole lot of fuel there. And then, as Jeff said too, those standing dead trees, dead and dying trees, that's a ladder right to the canopy. And without these Myrtaceae species, all these other species are starting to come through. And that's good, you know, we love our fern trees and all of that. But these Myrtaceae, they have such an important role to play, not just for us, but for our animal kin. That's their habitats, their food, everything. And that's what I want to talk to here. Oh, also erosion, you know, erosion here too. That's what I want to talk about. The interconnectedness of all of this, country, culture and community, it can't be separated. It's interconnected, and identity too. Identity is connected. It's all interconnected. It's not separate. It can't be separated. And so myrtle rust impacting the health of country impacts the health of our communities, impacts our ability to practice culture. And I'm going to talk to that a little bit more. So here are some Myrtaceae species that we see at home. We've got blackbutt there, which is a resource. We've got paperbark or deebing, we call it, up at Butchulla Country, and that's a seasonal indicator. It's a resource, it's medicine, story. We've got midgeonberry, that's a food and an important food for us, for animals. There's an entire relationship between the birds and the what's it called, death adder, snake. And we've got our lemon-scented tea tree and lemon myrtle, medicines. Everyone knows about the lemon myrtle medicine. So that down there in that corner, that big one there, that's Saturnae. And that is a very spiritually significant tree. Once they reach their elder phase, they're very spiritually significant, as well as an endemic species to Gari and some mainland on Butchulla, Cubby country. Then we've got cultural heritage. We've got our scar trees, our directional markers like this one here. And then again, the totemic significance, because not only are these species totemic species, or have totemic significance, but the totem animals also depend on these species. And these species, they're living stories. They tell us when to fish. They tell us so much. And native guava, for example, I worry, I've actually personally never had native guava before, but our children, our grandchildren will never know the taste of native guava. It will just be a story of the past. I hope not, but it's looking that way. Yes, that's... Oh, here now. The purpose of this project, and I'm sure a lot of you in this room also share this goal, is to combine Indigenous knowledge systems and sciences with Western science to centre cultural custodianship in our collaborative custodianship, us working together to care for country, and just extending that to the public. Us as Indigenous people, we have a responsibility to protect country, and everyone in this room feels that responsibility too. So how do we share that with everyone? How do we get everyone on board? So into the future, this program is supported through ACEBO, and we are hoping to continue this partnership and the work we're doing to grow these collaborations, especially with our Indigenous and non-Indigenous friends in Aotearoa. So as you can see up here, we're establishing more partnerships across. We want to do a national and international Indigenous network. We want... You know what, you can just read that. You can just read that up there. But yeah, that's what we're aiming and working towards. And here's some photos of some of our work. These photos are on Gari, on Fraser Island. Gari, as it's been reclaimed the name recently. And thank you.